And we're back, Real Dealies.
We know you missed us. Wink.
Brandon made us go to an over-the-top team building camp in the middle of winter.
Yeah, Kyle lost all but one finger to frostbite. All he can do is like point now.
Not Brandon's brightest plan.
No, I can't put a finger on why.
Well, anyway, from Ball State University, the real deal starts now.
It's because he only has one finger left, guys. Hey, Kyle, I was going to call you over break, but I didn't have your digits.
Welcome back to the spectacular
Finger.
mid-season premiere of The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news show. I'm Eli Brunsman.
And I'm Angela Orion, but this week for you guys, we have reviews, more reviews. So, I hope you like being told what to think.
Trust us, we're experts.
That's true. We trained for months by following strangers all around Muncie, asking what their favorite movies were. And when they gave us the wrong answer, we would lecture them for like 5 minutes on why they were wrong and follow them back to where they live, just pelting them with popcorn.
The squirrels loved us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, the Squirrel Nation of Ball State gave us 15 out of 10 stars.
They aren't really the best at counting.
Minor detail, minor detail. But to prove their love for the show, here is their faithful leader, Dr. Ronald S. Squirrel. He has a PhD in squirrel human relations. Thank you so much, Ronald. It's an honor to have you on the show today. So tell us, what is your favorite Brandon shenanigan? Yes! Oh, Ronald, that sure is nuts.
You're always a treat, Ronald.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, Ronald could go on and on. But unfortunately, we have to move on. Here is Lanisha Huggins with Hollywood Headlines. Lanisha?
There's a lot of Hollywood buzz about the Grammy Awards that took place Sunday in Madison Square Gardens. The most significant buzz was the amazing performances that took the stage. Every artist brought their own flavor to the stage, but there was 3 that took it to the next level. Here are my top 3 performances. Coming in at number 3 was an incredible emotional performance by pop singer Kesha. She performed her single Praying, joined by Cyndi Lauper, Camila Cabello, Andrea Day, and others wearing all white. Her performance tied to gender inequality and abuse in the music industry. It has been 4 years since Kesha released new music, and after the Grammys, nothing will stop her now. In the words of Janelle Monáe, who introduced Kesha on stage, "We come in peace, but we mean business." Number 2 is Kendrick Lamar's opening act. He opened the show with a powerful political message with commentary on racial issues in America. The California native is the reigning prince of hip-hop, who is not afraid to introduce politics to the world of hip-hop. He performed hit songs such as DNA, New Freezer, and King's Dead with dozens of army fatigue-dressed soldiers marching in place and in front of an American flag display. Dave Chappelle made an appearance in between each set of knowledge cloaked in humor. And coming in at number 1 is, of course, Bruno Mars featuring Cardi B, performing their joint single Finesse remix. Their collaboration began earlier this year with the colorful music video in honor of the hit comedy TV series In Living Color, which debuted from April 1990 to May 1994. Bruno Mars and Cardi B Grammy performers remain faithful to their video aesthetics. Everything from the fashion, the throwback setting, and the choreography allow for everyone to relive 90s music all over again. The kind of music that is understandable, fun, and connects to all ages. 2018 Grammy Awards show went out with a bang. Each artist delivered legendary performances that had the audience at the edge of their seats.
Thanks, Lanisha. Hey, Angelo, have you seen Paddington 2?
I wish. I can barely contain myself. Paddington 2. You see, the theaters have just been stuffed up ever since it launched, so.
Check this out. It's the director's cut.
Oh my gosh, thanks, Eli. You're the coolest. How'd you do that?
Well, let's just say I learned all my tricks from a particular TV show.
I love that.
I'll let Parker explain. Parker?
Over the break, I had a craving for a show that just keeps you engrossed in its world. One that keeps you saying, I could probably just watch one more. And then when you check your phone, you realize that it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you watched half a season in one go. Mr. Robot satisfies that craving. Mr. Robot follows Elliot Alderson, a cybersecurity engineer by day and a hacker extraordinaire by night. The plot revolves around Elliot as he gets picked up by a hacker group, F Society, and watches as they take down the largest conglomerate in the world to rid the world of debt. Now, the plot seems far-fetched, because it is, but that's not where the show gets interesting. Without a doubt, the show is addicting because nothing is as it seems. Since Elliot suffers from a mental illness and suffers from hallucinations, you never know what is real and what isn't. Mr. Robot has some of the best plot twists that stare you in the face, and you'll be none the wiser. Each reveal had me on the edge of my seat, going back through previous episodes to realize that the clues had been hidden in plain sight, but I never thought to look for them. That's why the show is spectacular. It plays games on its protagonist and its audience. But that's not all. The superb acting just adds to the illusion that the show creates. Rami Malek, who plays Elliot, and Christian Slater, they carry the show. Rami Malek perfectly plays a mentally ill, drug-addicted hacker who is caught up in a world he doesn't want to be in. His nuanced fidgets during awkward social interactions are so well done that they seem incredibly natural. Rami Malek carries the show. I mean, he has to, since he won an Emmy for his work on the show. Now, in my experience, Mr. Robot is best enjoyed only if you watch it back to back. Watching only one episode, then waiting some time before the next, doesn't build the excitement and suspense as binge watching the show. Back to back, however, the episodes flow naturally, and the suspense carries over until the show has reached a tipping point and reveals everything. It's that moment when everything clicks and the whole show comes together that keeps you engrossed. I cannot recommend the show enough. Please do yourself a favor and binge Mr. Robot. See you later. I'm Parker Carlson.
Thanks, Parker. You know what, Eli? Speaking of technology, hackers, and pirated copies of Paddington 2, we have Alexis Alicia with her review of Black Mirror after the break, so stick around. Pew, pew.
In the middle of the 21st century, Mother Nature finally unleashed her fury in a cataclysmic event known as the Cloudfall. It destroyed almost the entire planet. New and rudimentary authorities began to keep people as safe as possible, and bounty hunters roamed the wasteland.
You're just trash. What makes you so different than the bounties you drag in here?
Good. You're braver than I thought.
Sarah Winchester's mind is as chaotic as the house itself. We're worried about her sanity, Dr. Price.
Mrs. Winchester, it's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Do you believe in ghosts, Dr. Price?
I do not believe in anything I cannot see or study.
I feel their presence. In the air, in the walls. It has found.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Okay, Eli, what should I put for his favorite hobby?
I told you to use the Pilgrim picture. Give me that. You'll never get Kyle a date that way. We didn't hack into his computer files for nothing.
Sorry, I didn't want to be too obvious. I mean, it's pilgrimsonly.com, for God's sake, so...
Hey, guys, you're off track. We have a show to film?
Right. Sorry. While we hopefully get Kyle into the dating game, here's Alexis Alicia with the review. Alexis?
Recently, I've been watching the Netflix show Black Mirror. Black Mirror is the modern version of The Twilight Zone. It shows modern society with regard to possible consequences of new technologies. Each episode is different and set in an alternative present or the near future. The shows usually start off in a happy, positive way, but by the end, the situations have completely changed, sometimes for the worse. To those of you who haven't seen it, beware of some spoilers ahead. My favorite episode is Season 4's Hang the DJ. The show starts out with the guy, Frank, using a new digital dating service, Coach. The device tells him to go to meet his date, Amy, who is also new to the coach system. The system sets people up together and gives their relationship an expiration date. Frank and Amy have 12 hours together. After these 12 hours, they both go their separate ways, even though they hit it off with each other. Coach reveals that the system collects data on their dates they go on in order to match the user with their ultimate match, which it claims to do with a 99.8% success rate. For a year, they're in different relationships and cannot stop thinking about each other. After that year, they are paired up again, but decide to not check the length of their relationship, which distracts Frank. He breaks his promise with Amy and checks the date. The system recalibrates from 5 years to 20 hours, and Frank tells Amy this, and she's upset with him and runs off. After a couple more dates with other people, Coach tells Amy her ultimate match has been found, and it's someone she's never met. The system allows Amy to meet with Frank one last time. They agree they're in a test and to rebel against the simulation and escape up a wall. They climb up, and everything around them pixelates into blackness. It's revealed that they have rebelled in 998 out of 1,000 simulations that have occurred. The scene flips to the real world, where the simulations are all a part of a dating app's matchmaking algorithm, identifying that Amy and Frank are 99.8% match. The show ends with the real Amy approaching the real Frank. So, majority of the show was basically showing us the simulation. Honestly, after I watched it, I had to rewind it and Google the episode because I literally had no idea what was happening. It was such a plot twist. Black Mirror is the perfect show if you want to watch something new or to keep you on your toes. Until next time, I'm Alexis Alicia.
Thanks, Alexis. Dr. Ronald gives their review a 5 out of 7 stars. Huge fan. He's a big fan.
And we're happy to announce Kyle's gotten -1 matches on pilgrimsonly.com.
Yeah, it turns out not a lot of pilgrims exist anymore, or at least those who prefer someone with just one finger.
Yeah, but we don't have to worry because we have Rob Segovia to lift ours and Kyle's spirits with
his sweet and sultry tones. Take it away, Rob.
Take me back to November, a line from Tyler, the Creator's Flower Boy that paints November as a nostalgic memory of a better time in life. November is a month when days get shorter, nights are colder, and life feels bliss. My November is celebrating Thanksgiving. It allows me to reflect on all of the gifts in life, friends and family, good fortune and health, and turkey and lemonade. For TD label mate Sir, November has a different meaning, using the time for reflection on love had and love lost. In January of last year, Top Dog Entertainment signed Sir to a powerhouse lineup with Schoolboy Q, J-Rock, Ab-Soul, Isaiah Rashad, and Lance Skywalker. Last year, TDE struck gold with SZA and double platinum with Kendrick Lamar, both of whom were nominated at the Grammys. Sir's new album, November, is a project constructed as a talent hybrid of Daniel Caesar's neo-soul R&B and the jazz-hop production of Anderson .Paak. The Inglewood native has the ambition and prowess to show the music industry that he is here to stay. The intro track, Gone, enters the headphones with a conversation between Sir and Kate over a spacey instrumental from DJ Khalil. The two are on a jet, and after a status report signaling everything is ready for takeoff, Sir begins a journey as the pilot in full control, and the passenger is you, the listener, being taken on a musical experience. It's an experience which finds the pride of an individual with newfound freedom to explore the world and the love of one who wants to settle down with a significant other. There are some standout tracks on this album. The Schoolboy Q-assisted Something Foreign highlights the two TD artists rapping over an accompanying piano where they try to stay humble in a world full of egos, gangsters, and evils. Etta Bond features on Something New with the focus of love being the source of happiness rather than the materialism in his stardom. Never Home shows the different sides of partnerships, troubles, through perspective storytelling. War is a ballad about love and the will to do anything to win the battle. Dreaming of Me may be my favorite on this 11-song project, with beautiful crooning and impactful lyrics that flow with precision over a Freudian-inspired track. On the last track, Summer in November, we're able to get more insight into the true nature of Sir's relationship. For him, the person that he loves is the bright light in his world and can make him feel warm inside even on these cold winter nights. When November rolls around again and I offer up my praises, I'll remember to be thankful for Sir.
Thanks, Rob. We might have been away for a month, but don't worry because we didn't forget your favorite part of the show.
Shameless plug time?
Shameless plug time.
Shameless plug time, baby. Woo! This week, we've got red carpets, dystopian mazes, and Dr. Ronald's Oscars highlights. He actually wrote Oprah's speech.
No, it's Nathan Richard with the top movies of 2017.
What happened to Dr. Ronald?
We had to move that segment to another week because he had to help Christopher Nolan write his next blockbuster. He mitered in script writing.
Okay, well, we'll be back with Josie Underhill after the break then.
Last weekend, I saw the long-awaited conclusion in the Maze Runner trilogy, The Death Cure. This movie was anticipated by fans of the franchise because of an injury on set to its star Dylan O'Brien, who plays Thomas, that stopped filming for a while. Let me tell you, it was worth the wait.
The 60th Grammy Awards premiered last Sunday to honor the best songs from the best musicians of 2017. This year was a bit different because it was held in Madison Square Garden in New York City after 15 long years. The award show was hosted by the very funny and charismatic James Corden, host of The Late Late Show. He did a great job by introducing artists and providing a few laughs here and there in between performances. Although he was a great host, the artists that performed pretty much stole the show. Ralph?
This is Nate Richard, and today I'm going to give you my top 10 favorite movies of 2017. There was a lot of good movies last year, but here's the ones that I thought were the very best. Now I'm going to be primarily focusing on my top 5 for the time, but I still want to recognize the other 5 just because they were that good. For number 10, I have The Big Sick. At number 9, I have The Disaster Artist. At number 8, I have 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Number 7, I have Get Out. And at number 6, I have I, Tonya.
Welcome back to the jungle.
Oh, do you see Jumanji?
You mean Jumanji?
Sorry, I rolled the dice on that one. Paddington 2. But I will say, Kevin Jonas stole that film.
You mean Nick Jonas?
No, it was definitely Joe Jonas.
No, the one who had curly hair. He's known for getting jealous.
Now Wolf, gotcha, Naked Brothers Band. I love that show.
Well, technically his brother is in it, but, you know, never mind. Josie, maybe you can clear this up for him.
Easy car.
Jumanji, welcome to the jungle. It's been 22 years since we got sucked into the board game that terrified us with its life or death consequences. However, now Jumanji has evolved with the tech-savvy times. Apparently, no one plays board games anymore. I must have missed the memo, but that's besides the point. Now, Jumanji has transformed into a video game that brings a whole new meaning to the term virtual reality. 4 high school kids, while doing time in detention, find an old game console, but little did they expect that when they chose their avatars, that they would become the characters they chose and be transported into the crazy world of the Jumanji jungle, where they must fight to survive and restore the jaguar's eye to finish the game. To complete this quest, the group must use everyone's strengths to get out of the jungle alive. The film stars Dwayne Johnson, Karen Gillan, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Nick Jonas. When I went to see this movie, I wasn't sure what to expect. After being a big fan of the first Jumanji, I wasn't sure if the sequel could live up to the same expectations. However, I have to say that this film surprised me. It was a really fun movie with a good story. It relied a lot on humor and suspense to keep the audience hooked, but it worked well together. It was definitely interesting to see The Rock being a nerdy high school kid, but all the actors in this movie pulled off their characters really well, with the same high-intensity action that was in the first movie. Overall, I'd say the major flaw in this movie was, at least for me, the so-called villain of the game, Russell Van Pelt. Personally, I believed he didn't add a whole lot to the plot, and he really didn't do anything. He only gave out some threats. Van Pelt's villains were on the screen more than the actual villain, and all of his scenes included gross bugs crawling on and in him. I was definitely not a fan. Overall, I would give this movie a 4 out of 5 stars and would recommend that anyone who hasn't seen it yet go see it. I'm Josie Underhill. See you next time.
Thanks, Josie. Gosh, I really do love Jesse McCartney.
How about we just wrap this up? Now with our final review, our very own Noah Bullard, giving the Robs a run for their money. Noah?
Hashtag I stand with the Robs.
Now, I normally don't branch out into the world of music for segments here on The Real Deal, but this is a new year, and I'm determined not to fall into the same rut of top 5 lists and movie reviews that I was in last year. Eminem dropped a whole new album while we were away, and boy, it's interesting. There are touches from almost every era of Eminem's career hidden in the album. It retains the hit single Walk on Water featuring Beyonce and contains a song that's getting a lot of air these days featuring Ed Sheeran. That song is called The River, and it's a riveting story about struggles with temptation, sex, and the difficulty of handling an unplanned pregnancy. The only reason why this song works is because of Eminem. Sheeran is great in the hook, but it's that powerful tone that made Marshall Mathers larger than life, and that makes this track worth the listen. And my personal favorite song on the album is called A Rose, and it's right at the end of the album when you expect things to be dying down. It's the story of a drug overdose and the slow, comatose nature of a true OD. It's a reflection, as life flashes before a man's eyes, of everything he wanted to say but was too afraid to get out. And in the end, we get some angry Eminem that sends me back to 8 Mile and what got him out of Detroit in the first place. That's the sound I want from Marshall, but it's not one we get very often in this album. It's a lot of big name features. It's got a couple of good tracks, but overall, I'm not a huge fan. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Thanks, Noah.
You know, Eli, I think this has been Dr. Ronald's favorite episode. I mean, think about it. He's got his favorite things all in one episode. He's got popcorn, he's got reviews, and public nudity.
We'll have to have him back.
Now, we don't have to say goodbye just yet. We still have our final word for this week. So.
They took you because you're immune to a plague that's wiping out the human race. They think you're worth sacrificing to find a cure.
To be certain that the chief gets home to Montana safely without incident.
Have any idea what he's done? He's a butcher.
And the two of you ought to get along just fine.
We all know everyone's favorite thing about January is the return of The Bachelor. It's hard to admit that I tune into the show every Monday, ready to find out who will get that one-on-one date and who will be sent away bawling their eyes out. This season, we get to follow race car driver Ari's dating adventures because at 36 years old, Ari is ready to settle down and get married. Apparently, Ari was dramatically rejected a few years ago on The Bachelorette. This seems to tug at the girls' heartstrings as they all want to be the one to cure Ari's broken heart or whatever. Although Ari's episodes are already getting interesting, we're not here to rehash season 22. Instead, I want to talk about the show's fascinating history. According to the internet, the first ever dating game show was The Dating Game, which premiered in 1965. This is the show we always see parodied on SNL, where a saucy bachelor or bachelorette interviews 3 hidden singles. This is a far cry from ABC's The Bachelor, which heavily relies on looks and super elaborate dates. This series debuted in 2002, which inspired the creation of many more dating shows. But how much of The Bachelor is actual reality? A former contestant shared that her 50 Shades obsession was an idea the producers came up with, and apparently, the date food is just there for decoration. That stuff doesn't seem too bad when you hear about the producers supplying the contestants with endless alcohol to get them to talk or cry. But unfortunately, it's pretty hard to find out what else is controlled by the producers because of contracts and stuff like that. But it's safe to say this show might not actually be the most romantic thing in the world. So next time you watch, because you and I will both still watch, remember, things might not always be what they seem. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Eli Brunsman.
Thanks, Eli. You know, segueing perfectly from The Bachelor, I also want to talk about a dark and depressing show. You know, one that really puts the horrific and disturbing mindsets of humanity on display and makes you just feel dirty and a little bit of ashamed, you know, to be even part of the same species. That's kind of what I'm going for. Broadchurch is a British crime drama starring David Tennant and Olivia Colman. Of course, the two are extraordinarily talented, and if those names don't seem familiar to you, they are actually the 10th Doctor from Doctor Who and Mother from the Doctor Who episode The 11th Hour, respectively. Know who I'm talking about now? Perfect, I thought so. Anyway, the show is a crime drama all centered in this tiny beachside English town. The kind where you know everyone and everyone's embarrassing stuff they did in 4th grade. However, the crimes are not laid out in a normal sense of a case per episode, just resolved and scrapped to usher in a new conflict. Instead, each of the 3 seasons of the finished series discusses an individual crime. The first season discusses the death of a local boy. The second season delves into a cold case regarding the death of 2 young women. And the third and final season discusses a horrific sexual assault. The thing that separates this show from so many other crime dramas is the way that it feels more personal in a really terrifying way. As everyone in the town knows each other, the inevitably discovered culprit carries so much more weight. That person is someone's family member, someone's friend, not just a Joe Schmo from the next town over. Additionally, it touches on grief and loss in a way that I've never seen a piece of media handle it before. The family who loses their son, you can really see how they're reeling from it. The struggles with police investigations in this difficult time, the empty peace from their family kind of splitting them apart, the endless remorse and questioning as to how they could have stopped it. It's really messed up stuff, and the acting is sublime. The mother of the boy who was murdered, Jodie Whittaker, is fantastic at conveying a full spectrum of emotions. Jodie, of course, if you can't picture in her head, was the 13th Doctor from Doctor Who, so there you go. But aside from the family and the officers, there are so many neighbors and fellow townspeople that can't help but also be considered to be the killer at some point in time. There's the local store owner, played by David Bradley, who is also, he's Filch in Harry Potter, and he's Walder Frey in Game of Thrones. And of course, the first Doctor in the Doctor Who episode, The Doctor Falls. Additionally, there's the scrappy reporter trying to bust the case for his own gain, portrayed by Jonathan Bradley, who was also Psy in the Doctor Who episode Time Heist, but I think you already know that. You don't need me telling you that. And on top of all that, there are the religious ramifications detailed by the town's reverend, played by Arthur Darvill. Now, I think Darvill's name speaks for itself, so I'll go on. So overall, the show is really great, and actually, no, to backtrack, Darvill is, of course, one of the companies of the 11th Doctor in Doctor Who, okay? It makes sense now, you remember? Okay, perfect. So, overall, the show's really great. The acting is sublime, the atmospheric directing is perfectly executed, and I feel like I need to commend the show's writer, Chris Chibnall, for crafting something so somber and heartbreaking, yet something so mesmerizing at the same time. You can't put it down, and it sticks for you for a good amount of time after the fact, which really speaks for the writing, I think. The show's all on Netflix, so I highly recommend giving it a watch, giving it a binge, and if you're feeling desperate afterwards, reeling for a similar show to scratch that itch, Chibnall's spectacular writing can also be seen on Doctor Who. Okay, what is going on here? All right, is everyone involved in this godforsaken show connected tangentially to Doctor Who somehow? What if the show... Okay, let me out here. What if the show is an alternate universe that the Doctor travels to when the TARDIS breaks down, and he needs to adjust to life alongside his companions? How deep does this hole go, Eli? Does the Queen of England have connections to Doctor Who? Do I have connections to Doctor Who? Yeah. Is this a Doctor Who episode right now? You can't fool me, Chibnall. I see right through your games.
I hate to burst your bubble, Angelo, but I don't think this could ever be an episode of Doctor Who.
Can't risk it, Eli. Can't trust anyone, not even you. I'm Angelo Oriama, instructing you to wake up, sheeple. Don't let Chibnall ruin your life. Godspeed and good luck to you all.
I'm Eli Brunsman. If you want more from The Real Deal, check out our website, Facebook, and Twitter pages for news and updates on all things entertainment. Should someone go check on him? Bye.